welcome to Woman at the Wheel. I'm Sue. So I can get this adjusted just a little bit here. So it's Monday. January 23rd, and I just got an order for a job from Oklahoma City to Sayre. And this is good because today the weather's really nice. It's cool out, but we've got no precipitation or anything. He offered me one job down to Joshua, Texas earlier today that I actually turned down because I just don't make any money on it. By the time I go clear over to Medill to pick up a trailer, then down to Joshua, Texas and home, it's a wash. I'm not actually making anything. I might make 20 or 30 bucks. It's not worth taking the truck out of the barn for. But this one is what I'll be doing is I'll be going up to Oklahoma City, picking up a trailer of some kind there and hauling it over to Sayre, Oklahoma, which is, a couple, 3 hours at the most. I think it's like 2.5 hours west of Oklahoma City. So this is a short job, which is also good because today the weather's nice, tomorrow it's supposed to be terrible. We're getting a little dose of winter tomorrow. I guess it's supposed to snow all day. Wet snow. Be cold. Not anything I want to actually be out trying to drive around in, especially pulling trailers. So I'm going to bust my butt to get over here. I got to stop and get fuel. I'm going to get myself a cup of coffee, and I'm going to haul Bud up there and get this trailer and get it over to Sayre and get it delivered. I'm on a little bit of a time constraint only because it's like 11:30 already. At the time that I got the job, my oil was being changed, so I had to wait for that to get finished, and so that's done. I was having an issue with the truck last week too, over in Texas. I hauled a trailer over to Odessa, and on the way there I started getting this weird deal where my battery light was flickering on and off on this thing, and it wasn't making any sense to me why it would be doing that unless it was some kind of an electrical problem. And I guessed right. It was an electrical problem. We think we got it fixed. So the wires going up to the alternator from the battery, I think from the battery, there were a couple of skinny little wires up there that attach to the plug, the connector that plugs into the top of the alternator. And those wires had been rubbing against the metal body of the alternator, and they were actually chafed a little bit and rubbed through. So every time I hit a bump and those chafed areas contacted with the metal of the alternator body, I'm guessing that's probably when my light flickered on and off, because that's the wire that actually controls the warning light for the display, for the battery low display or whatever. So we got that taken care of, went in and cleaned up all the wires in there and taped the areas that were chafed and made sure there was nothing connecting or nothing that could short out. And we actually kind of confirmed that was it before we made the repairs. So I'm pretty confident that we got that resolved. As it turns out, it wasn't like a critical failure. It wasn't going to shut me down, but I didn't know that when it was going on. It really stressed me out. So I was thinking, oh no, my alternator's going out or something. But then I got to thinking about it, the way it was flickering, it looked more to me like a loose wire. Because it was intermittent. There was no rhyme or reason to it. And the light didn't come on and stay on for any length of time at all. It would flicker on and flicker back off. So it just looked like a bad connection. So anyway, apparently that's exactly what it was. So that's been resolved. And I've got a fresh oil change. and I don't even have my mileage written down. Crap. This is part of the problem with taking off like this on short notice. 171,877,876. Okay, so oil change. All right, so I got my mileage written down. That's good. Gosh. This is just a very quick, should be just a real quick trip, quick job. Nothing much to it. I don't have to leave the state. That's always nice. Don't have to go really super far. And it pays really well. This particular company that I hauled for them last week, they pay really well. So, you know, I'm always glad to go do that. Then when I was up there the other day, I picked up a trailer and it turned out to be the wrong one, so I had to double back. I hadn't got very far away, a couple miles. Had to double back and go trade it out for another trailer. But stuff like that happens. It's not a huge deal. Everything still worked out okay, so I think I lost a half an hour. Not really a deal, because I managed to get in to Odessa and get the thing delivered before they closed the store down there. So that's usually my on these store-to-store transfers. That's usually my time constraint, is I just have to get there before the store closes for the day. And most of these stores close at 5. So, you know, it kind of limits my delivery hours. Oh, great. I got somebody running 20 miles an hour in front of me here. Oh my gosh. It never fails when I need to make good time. Yeah. I'd pass them, but this is a skinny little road and I don't want to freak them out. I think it's some old lady. I don't want to freak her out by gunning this big old truck around her. Don't want her running off the road. But I wish she'd put a little bit of pressure on her accelerator. Oh my gosh. Oh well. Good, she's turning right. Maybe she'll get out of my way. Oh, go, for God's sake. Okay. Some people, I swear to God, some people are just slow. Just freaking slow. Alright, now we can make a little bit of time. I gotta go out here and get fuel. I'm just gonna run out here to the Duncan Y. They've had the best fuel price around locally, so I don't feel so bad about buying from them. Our truck stop out here used to be Phillips 66, and then about, I don't know, 4 or 5, 6 months ago they switched over to being a Valero station. And when they were with Phillips 66, they consistently had the highest fuel prices around locally. They didn't even try to be competitive. So I figured it wouldn't change much, but happily, they actually have decided, I guess, to try and do some good deals for us. You know, a little bit better than what it used to be. So I don't hate buying fuel here as much as I used to. I'm still not crazy about it, but like today I'm in a hurry, so I'm not being super finicky. I mean, it's under $4, so when I was out here the other day it was $3.95. Hopefully it's still in that ballpark. Because basically what I'll do is I'll just fill up both of my bottom tanks. I'm not going to worry about the auxiliary tank. It's empty. I drained it coming back, or going down to, or coming back from Odessa. But I'm not going that far today, and I can get there without having to refuel. I can get there and make my delivery without having to refuel. So if I need to stop on the way back, I can do that. There was a spot out between here and Sayre where I bought fuel once before, and it was really cheap. Oh great, they went up 20 cents overnight. Damn it. Okay, I guess I'm not buying fuel here. I'll wait and get up on the Turnpike. That's annoying. They went up 25 cents overnight. These fuel prices are getting to be a real pain in my ass, I tell you. Not real thrilled with it. So I'm gonna flip this camera around. I'm gonna run in here and get my coffee, and I'm just gonna go on up to the Turnpike, I guess. Seems like the sensible thing to do. Okay. Get my camera braced back up here. I have a system to brace it so it doesn't bobble around, hopefully. The rug was trying to kill me. Oh my gosh. Some days you just have trouble avoiding people. It's like these people here were all up in my way the whole time I was in there. Everywhere I turned, there was one standing right in front of me. It's kind of like, just let me do my shit and get away from me. Please. Just have days like that, I guess. I do anyway. Have days where I can't get away from people. Okay, now I think, yeah, I do. I got more fuel in here than I remembered that I had, so I'm fine going up to the Turnpike. Actually, I may not even need to stop and get fuel. That's actually great. I've got a tank and a quarter, so I'm fine. I probably won't even need to buy any fuel till I'm on my way back. So I'm just gonna beat feet and get up there and get this done. So where I'm at is I'm coming up on the south side of Marlow, Oklahoma right now. I'm on Highway 81 in south central Oklahoma, kind of between south central and southwestern. So if you're looking for it on the map, I'm southwest of Oklahoma City on Highway 81. This is the main thoroughfare running north and south through this particular area. Now, once I get up to Chickasha, I'll hit Interstate 44. And I'm going to go ahead, since it's the middle of the day, morning rush hour's over. It should just be moderate traffic in Oklahoma City. Now, there are two ways for me to go up here to this place that I'm going, because it's out on the southwest side of the city. I can take Interstate 44 up and over, or I can take Interstate 44 up to Highway 4 at Tuttle and cut up through there, but it's actually slower going through Tuttle because that takes me off the interstate and onto surface streets. I'm in a hurry today, so I'm going to stick with the interstate. So I'll get myself up here to the interstate, and then I'll cut up into Oklahoma City from there. So I picked up a cup of coffee and a bottle of electrolyte juice. So I can keep myself hydrated. This is going to be probably a 4-hour trip, 5 maybe, about 5 I think. So it's not like it's going to take me all day to get this done. It's going to take me the rest of the business day to get it up there and get back probably, but it's not too horrible of a trip. I don't have to take anything with me. It's not that far. More or less, I would call this a semi-local load. It takes me about 2 hours to get over to Sayre, 2.5 hours, I guess. And it's not that far from Oklahoma City, so it's probably 2 hours from Oklahoma City, if that. It's just out close to the western border of the state. But I'm really glad that I got this today, because tomorrow's going to be a stay-at-home day. I'm not taking the truck out tomorrow if the weather's as bad as they say it's going to be. It's supposed to start at 6 in the morning and go till the next morning, I guess, or late that night, late tomorrow night, with wet rain and cold and slippery roads, and I'm just not into that shit at all. No slippery roads for me, thank you. I used to run on ice and snow about 5 to 6 months out of the year up in Colorado. But it's not something that I actually enjoy. At the time I did it because that's what you do. If you live up there, you just drive on it because that's your option. You know, it's either drive on it or stay home. Well, I was work, so I had to get to work, and I was a cop, so, you know, I was running my squad car around on that slippery stuff. We had good snow tires. Actually, my snow tires up there they were made with like walnut shell chunks in them or something. It made them really sticky. So my squad car handled great, you know, snow and ice and everything. It's a little different when you're pulling a trailer that doesn't have, you know, trailers don't have snow tires on them. They've got trailer tires. So if that trailer starts sliding around, you're kind of foobarred, because your truck tires, once the trailer starts sliding, your truck tires aren't going to hold it back from pulling you off in a ditch or jackknifing on you. So that's why you see these guys in semis jackknifing on slick roads. As they get out of sync, that trailer starts moving just a little faster, or slides out of alignment, and it'll slip right on around and jackknife them real easy. I've had that happen. It's no fun. So I actually jackknifed a 40-foot trailer that was loaded with oil field equipment into the side of my very first hotshot pickup, and wasn't actually a pickup, it was a 2-ton Dodge, but tore it up pretty good. Tore up my back door, had to have that replaced. Tore up the trailer pretty good, had to have that repaired. So it's nothing to play around with. After that experience, I decided, when I have the option not to run on snow, which is pretty much always, because nothing I do now is an emergency, I won't run on snow. So that takes tomorrow off the table, obviously. Okay. Where to? Recent. Oh, that's right. I can't get this particular place to come up on my GPS. It hasn't been there very long. So I have to run my backup GPS, my phone, to actually get directions in up here, which I could probably find it without them, but this just saves me from having to think about it very much. Oh, come on. City, there we go. Directions, yes, give me directions, please. Start now. Okay, so I'm an hour and 18 minutes out from picking up my trailer. So that's going to put me there at about 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, so I've got plenty of time. I should be able to deliver this thing before 4 o'clock. Which is pretty great considering I didn't even get the job till, it was almost 11, or it was 11, I think. Go back and look at my text here. Oh yeah, 11:12. So it's almost an hour later now. It's 11:57. So it took me a while to get moving, only because my truck was still getting its oil changed. Okay, let's get on up in here and see what we're doing. So this guy would stack. This is what I used to haul with the big truck. What you'll see here, these trailers stacked up. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm the only woman driver who has hauled stacks. Not 100% on that, but that's my strong suspicion anyway. That's a lot of work tying them boogers together. I think it's going to be this one over here. That number does not match what I've got. 02352. Get out and look here. Okay, so I'm leaving a little later than I wanted to leave because they had a little mix-up on the VIN number of this trailer. So we got that, caught that. It's all good. And I've got 115 miles to go to get out here and get this thing delivered. So I'm just going to get out here and get on I-40 up off Morgan Road, the same way I came in. Get out here as quick as I can. Then we'll get this done. So I'll go ahead and by the time this gets posted, I will have trimmed out the excess time spent waiting there. It took me almost an hour to get this thing picked up instead of the half an hour that I was expecting. So that's a little unusual, but I showed up at lunchtime. That's a bad time to show up to pick up trailers. And where's my phone? There it is. Lost my phone there for a minute. Okay. On my way. I have the trailer. It's all good. Okay. Just letting my broker know so he doesn't have to sit there and wonder, well, did she get it or not? Yes, no, maybe. So I'm basically 2 hours away from getting this delivered now. It's 2 o'clock, so 4 o'clock will be, if I don't have any troubles, I'll get it delivered about 4 o'clock. Four is as good as any other time, as long as the store is open. And I do have a phone number for these people, so if for some reason they're not there when I get there, I can call them, I'm sure. We'll see. I don't anticipate any delivery issues. I guess they probably know it's coming. Pretty sure because I think they requested it for today. And fuel's high here at the TA. $4.39. I had to pay $4.39 down in Texas the other day. I kind of was getting really low. That's actually what I'm running on now, I think. But deal, it just keeps wavering. It goes up, comes back down, goes up, comes back down. It'd be nice if it would come down and stay down. It's not going to because our economy's all jacked up. Pretty annoying. But at least I'm getting paid, compensated for the higher price. So one of the things I get that a lot of truckers get, it applies to big trucks and little trucks in a lot of cases, is a fuel surcharge. So I'm not 100% on how all that works, but there's some kind of a chart, I guess, that somebody puts out. I don't know if it's the government or who, but it calculates the difference between the average diesel price for the area that you're in and the spot price, I guess, at in the area. The difference between, or maybe it's the difference between the national average and your area, the price in your area, something like that. But you get a little bit of extra money to help you offset the higher cost of the fuel, which is a really nice thing. So like on this trip, it's a 114-mile trip, I'm getting $25 just for extra help with the fuel. So I don't have to take that fuel out of my trip rate. And they separate it out like that because the price changes daily or hourly, depending on, you know, what's going on. That's what a fuel surcharge is. It just, you know, compensates you for a little bit of the higher price that you're required to pay in your area. So I've been getting really decent fuel surcharges during the whole time that I've been hauling for this outfit. Used to be we didn't get fuel surcharges so much on trailer hauling. It was pretty rare. It was a thing that I got more in the oil field than I got for trailers, you know, and that's been 10 or 12 years ago. So it's caught up. It's gotten to be a common practice now. I think it was kind of a newer idea back then, at least in this industry. The nice thing about a fuel surcharge like that is that goes directly to the truck. So my broker doesn't take a 10% cut of that. My broker takes 10% cut of my trip rate. So like on this trip, I may be getting paid $250 as a trip rate, plus 25 more, or $275 for a trip rate, and 25 more for fuel or whatever. Those aren't the actual numbers. It's just, but. So I'll only pay 10% of the 200 and something that's actually the trip rate. I get all of the fuel surcharge. So that's beneficial to me. Because the brokers are not allowed to take part of that fuel surcharge as their part of their commission. So, I just lost the lid for my drink here. Kind of need that because this road is bumpy. Found it. Okay. Awesome. That is how you make a residential delivery. He's happy, I'm happy, now I can go home and stay there. It's a squinchy little gate. Squinch-y. All right, and I'll probably go back to where I was and buy a tank of diesel. Actually, I'm just gonna stay on this road this should take me back relatively. To the correct area. Anyway, I'm heading east, so I need to head east and south to get home from here. So I'm actually out here in the middle between Elk City and Sayre. Sayre's on over west of us. So I'll get up here and get some fuel and send in my ticket. Let them know it's delivered. I would have done it there, but I don't like sitting in people's yards doing my paperwork. Rather get to a neutral location so that it doesn't creep them out, you know, because that kind of would creep me out if somebody delivered something and sat there in my yard for 10 minutes or whatever. Good, this got me back to paved road. I like my paved road, especially with this truck. I don't really want this truck to get all full of dust. So I try to stay off of dirt roads with it as much as possible. Obviously, I'm gonna hit some, but prefer not. You can see the dust on the hood out there, just from that little bit of dirt road. Fuel stop between here and Cordell down off of Highway 52. I'm gonna kind of cut down through there and see if I can find it again. We bought fuel there really cheap once, and it may or may not be cheap, but I'm not gonna make it on what I got on the truck, so I'm gonna have to stop and at least buy a tank anyway. And it's, by a tank I mean 19 gallons at the most, probably more like 15, because I've still got some in here. It's reading about 1/8 of a tank. And I'll tell you after I fill this up how much that actually means is left in here. This is the front tank, so that's something I haven't exactly taken the time to just actually figure out specifically, which I should know. I mean, I should know how much fuel's in here when it hits that level, instead of worrying about it or guessing. So I'm back on Highway 6. I just made a loop around on county roads, back down here to 6. 6 will take me back over to Highway, whatever it is. To something road. It wasn't a highway, it was some road. Merrill Road, maybe? Something like that. Which will take me back over to I-40 if I want to go that way. But actually, I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to go ahead and go on into Elk City. So I'm on the west side of Elk City here, not very far from Elk City. So I'll go ahead and stop down here and get fuel, and then I'll cut through Elk City and then over and down to Highway 152 and cut back across that way. I'm not going back up on the interstate. Don't need to. Not necessary. Seems like it should be about another mile or two over here to this gas station where I just stopped on the way in. I stopped in the same place. It's going to be $4 a gallon, which sucks, but you know, that's what I've got to work with. Unless I've got a deal on my phone here. See, maybe. $4 is their sale. Okay. I'm not even worried about it. I'm just going to go pay the $4 just to get fuel on. Then if I see it someplace cheaper on the way home, I can top off my other tank. But I can get home on one tank, so it's not an issue. I can easily get home on one tank now that I'm not towing anything. So I got rid of all my wind drag. So I think what I'll do is I'll stop at the Starbucks over here, maybe get some food. I'm getting pretty hungry, and I'm so fat. I'm the fattest right now that I've ever been in my life. And I'm not proud to say that either. I'm just totally fat. And I'm really tired of being fat, so I'm trying not to give in to eating junk so much. I mean, calories you can't avoid if you're going to eat. You know, you got to eat to live, but I don't have to eat crap to live. I don't have to eat sugar and potato chips all the time. I've done way too much of that. That's what got me into this position to start with, I'm pretty sure. If I'm being honest about it. You know, it's too much crap, too much junk. So I think I'll run up and see if I can get bacon egg bites. At least that's more ketogenic. I mean, there may be other stuff in them, but to my knowledge, what's in them is bacon, eggs, and cheese. So there's not a bunch of carbs anyway. So I'll pop in here and get my fuel, and then I'll just head south. Well, no, I'll head east. I'll stay on Business 40. Or I can just head south and not go to Starbucks. That might even be better. I don't know, it's 4 o'clock and I haven't eaten yet today. I've had fluffy coffee, so I've had too much sugar is what I've had, which is really stupid of me to do to myself. I seem to be on this, I get on kicks with stuff. I don't know if you do that, but I do. And I don't know if they've got diesel on this side or if it's all on the other. I didn't even think to look when I came through before. think it's all over here. Yeah. It's gonna be. Alrighty, let me go pump a tank. This isn't going to take very long. So these are truck pumps, so this should be pretty quick. I am going to pull over here and catch up on the rest of my stuff. My other paperwork, like my logbook. That done. Okay, that is that. Now, I think I will just go on home. Just to heck with stopping at Starbucks. Maybe. I don't know, I'm not quite decided yet. I'm half decided. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and go through Elk City here. And I just about got run over by a school bus. So I put in 15 gallons, which means I had about four gallons left in my tank at an eighth of a tank. So that's good for me to remember. I'm going to write that on my notepad here. 1/8 front equals 4 gallons. Okay. Something I should know by heart anyway. So basically, at today's price, it cost me $62 for fuel. Just to get it here, and it'll take me, I don't know, probably 25 or so to get home, because my fuel mileage will improve exponentially now that I'm not pulling a trailer. So I think it's pretty safe to say that my total fuel cost for this round trip, and I only got paid one way, is about $90, and the fuel surcharge paid $25 of that. So that means I really only was out of pocket about $70 for the round trip, which is actually pretty good. That means my profit today was considerable. You know, really good profit day for having just one short run. So I really like hauling for these guys because they pay more per mile than some of the other trailer places. So this is Elk City, where we're at right now. This is the town of Elk City. As you can see, Route 66. We are on Route 66, the original. Elk City is a bird sanctuary. Huh, never knew that. Okay, so I just paid 9 cents more than I had to. But, oh well. 9 cents times 15 gallons is what? 90 cents and another 40 cents. So I paid a little bit over $1 more than I needed to for fuel. You'll have that sometimes. I can see this front that they were talking about. I think that's what I see coming in behind me. And the temperature has stayed pretty steady at 50 all day, so it's not like it got very warm today. And the sun will be going down here in another hour and a half. Yeah, I paid 9 cents more than I had to. Oh well. I hate that. It annoys the crap out of me. But you know what? It's done, so I guess I might as well just suck it up and get over it. I still didn't pay as much as Love's. Love's is $4.24 over there. So they're fully a quarter above everybody else in town. A quarter a gallon more than everybody else. That's kind of crazy. It's kind of a cool little shop, like a little burro planter thing. I like donkeys. I'm a donkey person. I think they're really cute, really smart little animals. And we had donkeys when I was growing up. I hate to say it, but one of them outsmarted me big time when I was a kid. She got me to quit riding her around and leave her alone by throwing me off on my butt in a rocky field. That kind of cured me of trying to make her carry me around. She buffaloed me is what she did. Her name was Poco Loco, a little crazy. She wasn't really crazy, she was just pretty smart. She was smarter than a 10-year-old kid, I think, at that point. Or an 8-year-old kid, however old, I think I was about 8. Not something that too many people will admit, right? Being dumber than a donkey when you're a kid. But, yeah, I have to admit, she got the best of me. I really liked her, though. I liked all our donkeys. We had 3 of them. We had her, Poco Loco. She was the first one we got. And then we got 2 more, Sweet Pea and Juliet. My mom liked giving classical names to the animals on the place. We had a couple of Angora goats, and they were Napoleon and Josephine, so, you know, she was pretty good at giving them pretty grand names, which I think is pretty funny. But I never really rode the other 2. I rode Poco a little bit, but I was kind of horse crazy when I was a kid. But then getting bucked off a couple times. I got bucked off of her, and then I got bucked off my dad's horse, Ribbon. And she dumped me over the top of her neck by stopping suddenly when I wasn't ready for it. She knew how to get rid of me too. So I kind of gave up trying to ride then. I realized relatively early on that I had no aptitude for actually sticking to the back of an animal. If they wanted me off, they didn't have much trouble getting rid of me. So any critters like that I've been around since then have been mostly like pets to me. So I really like them. I just don't want to ride them. It's not even that I don't want to ride them. I don't want to have to fight with them or get bucked off or get hurt. You know, one of those deals. I'm averse to pain is the deal. That's kind of the situation. So getting bucked off and injured is not my cup of tea at all. I like a motor vehicle that I can pretty much have full control over. It doesn't have a mind of its own. Now, granted, there are times when they'll break down or something unexpected will happen. but it's not like they're consciously plotting to throw you off of them like a horse or other critter that you might try riding. I don't know, probably any of them. Horse, camel, burro, whatever, mule, elephant, I don't know. Anything that's big enough to ride is also big enough to kill you pretty much if it wants to. It's kind of the rule of thumb. So I'm just not interested in suffering through all that misery when I can just pick up my keys and go get in the truck and go, and not have to argue or fight or do any coaxing or anything like that. And being relatively certain that it's not going to take a notion to buck me off. So I worked my way around to the east side of Elk City. And I think I will see if I can find that Starbucks. Okay, it's not even showing up on here. I know it's up here because I've been there before. This is the thing about this GPS. It needs to be updated, and I haven't updated it. So a lot of the stuff that's newer, say like, even though I just bought it a year ago, it seems like it's got like 5 or 10-year-old programming in it, which is unfortunate because it's not real helpful to me sometimes in that way. So I'll just have to try and remember where it is. I think it's down here. I'm just going to operate like it's down here. 34 will take me home. If I don't find it, I don't find it. This will take me home one way or the other. I think it's down here about a mile. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is because there's Walmart. It's down here in the vicinity of this Walmart. I'm on the right track. I just got to get around here to it. It's a little awkward to get to, I guess, is kind of why I was having, second thoughts about even going over here because it is kind of a pain to get to. That's all right. Yeah, there it is. I see it. See the sign. I don't know if I can get through their drive-up or not. Some of them are so tight that I can't get through them with this truck. Even though this truck is a lot easier to turn than my Dodge. There were very few that I could get through with the Dodge, like 3 or 4 of them. But this one I've never tried to go in the drive up, so I don't know. I may not, I may just go in anyway. can probably get through this one, but I'm going to go in just to make sure, because I don't know that for a fact. I've never really scoped it out. Never really got a good look at it. Yeah, no, I might not be able to get through there anyway. Looks pretty tight. I think they intentionally make them so you have to have like an electric car to fit in them. Something like that. Okay, I shall return. Okay, now I can get back on the road here. If I can get out of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut down this county road here and get the heck out of here. And we'll figure it all out once we get south of town a little bit. I think this actually dumps back into the highway. Oh man, that was so good. When you wait that long in between meals, when you actually have something to eat, it's so much better. I have no clue what the speed limit is here. Okay, so basically I'm on a county road and I just turned east. I'll go up here a couple more miles and I'll hook it right and then I'll go back to the east again. This is going to continue until I get down to Highway 152. Two more miles and we'll be on highway. More cotton on the road. I'm glad that's the only white thing I'm seeing on the road right now, because snow would not be making me happy. I do not want to drive in snow, not down here. One of the problems with this area is when we get snow, if it gets that cold, a lot of times we'll get rain on top of it, and then everything just ices up. And there's no helping it. Once it gets icy like that, you're just kind of stuck because you can't drive on it. You can't get rid of it. If you get caught out in it, you can be stuck on the side of the road for however many days it takes for that stuff to melt off, or until you can get someplace in out of the weather. You know, if you're real close to somebody's house or something, you might be able to go for help, but you're not going to get anywhere in a vehicle. So when we've got this kind of weather coming in, I prefer to be home before it hits. I wouldn't want to get stuck out here in an ice storm. You know? I don't think that would be fun in any way, shape, or form. Not at all. Not even remotely. Okay, so this is Highway 152. We're just now coming up on, I'm going to turn east here onto 152. That was an interesting corner. I've taken corners like that before. Cut it way too short. That looks like something I would do around home. Not so much when I'm out working, but around home I've known to do that kind of thing occasionally. Why they've got this wide load on this skinny highway, I'll never know. He looked like he was doing all right with it, though. Okay, I'm starting to feel all fueled up now. So I got my bacon egg bites, my favorite thing to get to eat on the road. I'm trying to slip back into keto eating here and get out of my bad habits of peanut M&Ms and potato chips and sugary coffee. So the egg bites were scrumptious, and I got a cafe mocha made with heavy cream. Now, this is all kind of redundant calories for me today because I had sugary coffee cappuccino today. But it'll kind of set me up to get back in the swing of staying more ketogenic. I've pretty much just about given up being able to ever lose this extra fat that I've got on me, because nothing seems to work. I've just hit the age and the time in my life where I guess it's damn near impossible to lose weight unless you get sick, and then, you know, all bets are off. Then you're going to lose weight and probably die. You know, I don't want to go that route either. But so I'm just going to try and concentrate on being healthier, I guess. Even though I hate being fat, I seriously hate it. There are two things I hate that I'm having to deal with right now. One of them is having short hair. I hate having short hair. And the other thing is being fat. And those are two things that, I mean, I can try and control them, but I don't really have a lot of control over either one of them, just because of the circumstances. You know, you get old, your hair grows slower. You get old, it's hard to lose weight, you know, stuff like that. So I'm not saying it's totally beyond my control, but it's annoyingly difficult to change that. So a couple things I've done is I've decided I'm just going to have to try and eat better to be healthy. But as far as hair goes, I've got a couple of fake hair things that I think will kind of tide me over until my hair gets long enough to braid it again. It's almost long enough now that I can just kind of almost get it into a ponytail. not real well, but it'll almost go. So I've got like a couple of fake things of hair, and it's not like real hair, it's fake hair, it's synthetic. So it didn't come off on any little Chinese woman's head or anything, or, you know, nothing like that. So I didn't steal anybody else's hair. But I've got one that's a ponytail attachment, and then I've got one that's like to make a bun real easy. And these things are going to help me out. My hair's still just a little bit short for both of them. Another month or two, and I should be able to use them really well. It'll give me just a little bit of my old feeling of having longer hair back while it's still growing out, because I seriously hate having short hair. This was a situation where I started growing my hair out like in 2012, and I swore I was never going to cut it again. Well, you know, good intentions, whatever. So I grew it out until 2018. It was the summer after my dad died, and it was long enough I could almost sit on it. It was really long. It grew fast, relatively fast. It was still 6 years of growing it out, but I got really sick that year, and I was like seriously sick for about a week, just kind of out of it. And when I came out of it a little bit, I wasn't really thinking clearly, obviously, or I would have done it different, but my hair was a mess. I'd been just kind of laying on it for days, you know, hadn't been getting up and combing it or anything. So I just took out a pair of scissors and cut it off. I cut off about a foot of it. So it was still relatively long, but it wasn't down to my butt anymore. It was down below my shoulders, and it was okay. But then one of the things that I had been doing all that time, because I was trying to grow out the gray and not have to dye it anymore, because I dyed it up until 2012, and I quit dyeing it. And but my ends were still kind of a different color than the new growth. So I ended up having streaks put in it. And when they streak your hair, it's not like some gentle process. They bleach the shit out of it. So I had bleached streaks in it that were just, I mean, it was just crunchy. They'd been cooked, you know. Because my regular hair lady retired and disappeared on me about 2 years before that. So I went to another lady, and she did it, and she burnt the shit out of it. So then I tried doing it at home because I couldn't find anybody else, you know. So I burnt the shit out of it too. So at that point, it was just a matter of cutting it off and starting over. So that's what I did last year. I went in and had it all cut off, all the stuff that was bleached, and they cut it really short. So it's actually grown quite a bit since then. So I think that was about in June or July last year. And I mean, they cut it to where it was only 1.5 inches or maybe 2 inches long at the longest. Well, so now it's about 6 or 7 inches long, but it's still what I consider short. I mean, for me, if it's above my shoulders, to me it's short, and I don't like it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to grow it out and get back to having my long hair. Well, I've been just really missing my hair, and I've been wishing, you know, that I could put it back in a ponytail or put it up in a bun, you know, get it up out of the way, because it looks better when I do that, when it's longer, but it's just not long enough to really, you know, be able to do any of that without a little help. So the other thing about it is it's an odd color, because naturally I have dark brown hair, but now it's all gone gray, but it's going gray at different rates all over my head. So underneath it's more brown, and on top it's more gray, and it's just a fucking mess. So it's really hard to find little hair pieces that come anywhere close to matching. Well, I finally found a couple, and so, you know, I can actually do this now, and I'll be able to do it better in another month when it's grown out a little bit more even. So the longer it gets, the better these things are going to work. But I'm just on the verge of being able to use them. So one of the things I've been having to do since I cut my hair off short, I've been having to bring a curling iron with me when I travel, and I have to curl my hair everywhere. It's a big pain in the butt. and it doesn't necessarily always stay curled. My hair doesn't take a curl very much, so it's kind of like fighting with it. So my hair has pretty much looked shitty for the last year, or for the last 2 or 3 years. It's looked pretty bad. So I'm hoping that once this all grows in, I don't have any bleached areas left. This is all my natural hair now. But of course the color changes, as I get older. The color, it's getting lighter on top and, different stuff. But anyway, so I've been trying for several months to find the right color of hair pieces that I can use, because I just don't like the way it looks. I mean, I'm just really over it. So we'll see how it goes, but at least this summer I won't have to have it all hanging loose in my face. I'll be able to get it up out of my face and put it up in a bun, or get it out of my face and put it in a ponytail. And that was the main point for that, because I don't want to have my hair just hanging loose for another year. It drove me crazy. Every time I go out in the wind, my hair would just, it was just a disaster. At least if I've got it in a ponytail or a bun and I've got it tied down, at least it looks a little better without having to mess with it. So this is what I've been contending with, and for all this stuff about doing men's jobs and all that, I am still not anywhere near like a man. I'm definitely all girl. I think about all girl kind of stuff when I'm not thinking about the truck, or my job. So this is the kind of stuff I think about when I'm driving around all day. If I'm not worried about the truck breaking down, and I'm not today, knock on wood, don't want to jinx it, but this is the kind of thing I'm driving around thinking about. So there you have it. Now I was thinking about stopping up here. There's a little town up south of here that might have a good fuel price. I don't know. It might be up at this intersection, but I don't know if I'm going to even mess with that tonight. I think I'm just going to go home, and I can go over to Lawton once this storm passes through and go get probably the cheapest fuel around is going to be there anyway. So I think I'm just going to save my money. I already put some in. I'm going to save the rest of my money and just go home and do that later. Because I'm not going to be getting a job tomorrow. I'm pretty much guaranteed about that, because nobody's going to be wanting to ship trailers, in an ice storm or a snowstorm. Which is great for me, because I'm not going to take a job. Even if they offered me one tomorrow, I'd turn it down if that storm comes in. So anyway, those are the things I think about. I think about my hair, and I think about my weight. I think about, getting old, because I am getting old, and how annoying it is, how aggravating all of this is. And it is. It's very aggravating. No doubt about it. Put on a little heat. It's getting kind of chilly. Yeah, the temperature's falling. It's starting to drop below 50 out there. Put a little extra heat on here. So anyway, I'm just I'm glad that I'm still able to do all this stuff, but there's stuff that drives me crazy that's pretty much, it's not 100% beyond my control, but it might as well be. Like not being fat. That's a big one. I know, logically speaking, that that's not beyond my control, but try as I might, for the last year, I haven't lost. I can lose a pound and I gain it back. I lose a pound and I gain it back. I've been fighting this for years now. It's been, I think, 3 or 4 years. Oh, it's been since before my dad died that I was actually not so worried about my weight, but right after he died, it seems like I blew up, put on about 15, 20 pounds. I haven't been able to get it back off. So, for what that's worth, I don't know. I don't know if it has anything to do with it or not, but that's the timing of it. And I've had a lot of kind of traumatic shit I've been dealing with too in that time frame. So, you know, I mean, my dad died of cancer real quick. He found out in like October of 2017, and he was gone by the end of February of 2018. So it was real quick. But he's 86 years old, I mean, but still. And then, of course, that left my mom alone, so I was kind of trying to keep an eye on her, because she had issues. She had cognitive issues. She had had some little mini strokes and stuff, and she wasn't always thinking quite right about stuff, but so I was trying to help her out as much as possible and kind of keep an eye on her. So I told Dad I would. That was pretty much the last thing he told me is, you know, keep an eye on your mom. I'm like, okay, I will. So that was going on, and then, of course, Bill got sick, and I didn't know if he was going to live through it. He did, thank God. He's doing pretty good now, but that was touch and go for a while, and I got sick, which turned out not to be that big of a deal, but on top of everything else, it seemed like it was a big deal. So I got cured of what was ailing me. And then a year and a half ago, my mom passed away. So, you know, just a whole lot all right in that time frame. Just not a real fun time of my life, I guess. And then, of course, last year I decided to go back to work. I'm glad I did, actually, because I hate to think what I would be like if I had just been sitting at home watching TV this whole time. I probably weigh 300 pounds. I don't know. I'm pushing 200 now, and that's the fattest I've ever been in my life. And it's not like I've never been fat, because like when I was in high school, I weighed 180 pounds. I was a big girl. Then again, I'm 6 feet tall, you know. So I'm like 10 pounds over that now. And which I guess is not too horrible, all things considered. You know, I weigh 10 or 12 pounds more than I did as a senior in high school. But in between high school and the last 5 years, I got my weight down to like 130, 140 pounds for 30, 40 years. So I'm not used to being this fat anymore. It's kind of odd to me. You know, it seems, relatively speaking, it doesn't seem so bad when I frame it like that, but, you know, when I think about, you know, I just haven't been this fat forever, it's pretty annoying. But oh well. I know, blah, 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 blah. Whining about everything. I guess I kind of am. Maybe I'm just feeling a little sorry for myself today, I don't know. Could be. Wouldn't be the first time. Okay, we're coming up on Cordell, Oklahoma here. I'm trying to see how far I am from home. About 110 miles from home. Okay, that's good. Cordell's one of those neat towns that has a central courthouse right in the middle of the main street. You can see it up there. That literally is their courthouse, and it literally is sitting in the middle of their main intersection in town. Courthouse Square. It's a very southern thing. Or maybe it's just a very old town thing. I don't know. I can't remember if there's too much of that up in the east or not. I know in Kentucky there are some like that. Tennessee for sure. But it's pretty impressive. I mean, when you're heading into town, you see this big dome building. It's kind of neat. Ouachita County Courthouse at Cordell. I'm just going to go ahead and slow down a little bit. I don't know if that was a trooper or a city cop. I don't want to get a ticket from anybody. I don't care what agency they're from. I do try to mind my P's and Q's while I'm out here driving around. I'm not looking for that kind of trouble, for sure. Cavalry Creek. Huh. Never really noticed that before. I've been through here a lot. It's been a while though. Might be close to a year since I've been through here. I want to say the last time I was over in this area was when we put new tires on the Dodge truck. I think, yeah, it was on the Dodge. We ran over to Elk City and had them put on there. Our normal tire place didn't have them in stock, but they did over here. It was, you know, it was a nice day for a drive, so we went ahead and ran over and had them put them on. I think this is neat. That's a pretty good looking courthouse, don't you think? Look at the dome on that. Really kind of impressive for a small town. This is not a very big town. I mean, at one time it was probably a lot bigger of a deal than it is now, like most small towns. Yeah, they've got a movie theater there, an old one. Lots of stores around the town square. It's kind of cool, kind of a neat place. Okay, so 183 is a really major trekking route. I'm not going to turn south on 183. That would dump me out down on Highway 62 between Altus and Lawton, and I just don't really want to go down that way. I've got a much better shot at getting home this way without having to go through Lawton or any other really very big town. And that's one of the things I'm going to do. The biggest town I'll have to go through on this route is Chickasha. And it's not anywhere near the pain in the butt to get through that Lawton would be. We're just going to stay on Highway 152 and just run it all the way over to Highway 81, which isn't that far over now. It's, I don't know, probably 60 miles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this camera around, not so much so you can look at me, although I guess if you want to you can, but I'm going to flip it around because I want you to see the sunset behind me. We've been having some really dramatic and beautiful sunsets and sunrises lately. If I can get this thing where I can see what I'm doing, would be nice. Okay, there we go. So you may get to see some of the color back there if it colors up like it did out my back window here as the sun's going down. We'll see. Just trying to kind of brace up the back of this camera a little bit so it doesn't bounce around. There we go. All right. I'm not going to mess around with it anymore. But I don't know. I guess you could probably see the clouds starting back there behind me. That's the leading edge of that front that's coming up from the southwest. So this was a very well-timed trip for me. And able to get in and get back out before the bad weather hits. Okay. Yeah. Okay, anyway. I guess I'm going to flip this back around because it's just bouncing around. This is not really very productive, I think. So let's do this. Oh, quit. This damn thing has a mind of its own, for sure. Okay, I have no idea what this camera's doing. It just shut itself off again. There's doesn't seem to be any reason for it to be doing that. But so I'm not even sure how much of that, you know, if it taped or whatever. So I'm on Highway 152. I'm eastbound, heading over to Highway 281, US 281. I'm going to turn right there, turn south on 281, and take that down to Anadarko, and then pick up Highway 62 at Anadarko and run that over to Chickasha. And once I get to Chickasha, I'll get back on Highway 81 and run that the rest of the way home. That must be an electric company there because it looked like Mr. Kilowatt out on their sign. So we're starting to get some pretty color to the sky. The sun is setting behind me, but we've been getting some really magnificent colors in our skies lately. And I don't know if there's something in particular in the atmosphere, if it's just, might just be moisture in the atmosphere. I don't know, but when there are clouds, it seems like, and I've got a good sunrise or sunset going, I've been getting some really spectacular sky shots. So this is really interesting to me. We'll see how long it lasts. It may not last very long because the sun is about ready to go down. It's 5:52, it's almost 6 o'clock. And it's been getting dark closer to 5:30 lately, so our days are definitely getting longer. I will be so glad when we get off of daylight savings time, or go back on it, whichever. I hate it when it gets dark earlier in the evenings. That's usually when I'm out driving. I could use an extra hour of daylight actually in the evenings as opposed to in the mornings. But everybody's got their own opinion on that one too, I suppose. Okay, I think I'm getting into Binger. We'll see. Pretty sure though. Yeah, that's what this is. This is Binger, Oklahoma. This is the home of Johnny Bench, if you're a baseball person. Very famous catcher. I think his active years were like in the 60s, maybe into the 70s. But this is where Johnny Bench came from. They're proud of it too. They got all kinds of signs up. I don't blame them. Binger's a tiny little town. There's really not much to it. A few hundred people here probably, I would guess. I think there's a convenience store type gas station down here. That's pretty much it. Their downtown's pretty much dead, like a lot of these other little towns. I mean, there are very few towns this size in Oklahoma who have anything going on in their downtown areas. That's kind of a thing of the past. So, yeah, there's their yeah, this is a convenience store I was thinking of. And I'm not stopping here. I don't have any reason to. I'm just going to keep going. I'm 70 miles from our house right here. So I'm just a little over an hour from home, which makes sense. I'm pretty much right on schedule. I should be home by about 7, right around there. And it's not quite 6 yet. It's almost 6. I got 5:55. These roads have been treated. They're expecting some ice in here. It's these white lines on the road in front of us. That's that road treatment I was telling you about, like over in Oklahoma City. So they've been out here and got these treated in anticipation of this big bunch of snow we're supposed to get in the morning. We'll be turning south here in a few miles, and maybe you'll be able to see more what I'm talking about this big storm or the big front that's pushing in from the southwest. It's a pretty dark cloud bank over there that's kind of creeping in. Looks like a pretty slow mover. So if it brings rain tonight and then cold air comes in the morning, like they're thinking it will, we probably will have an icing event, I would guess. So I'm kind of pointing southeast right now, kind of twisting and turning around here a little bit, and then I'll turn south once we get up here to Highway 281. It's about another 3 miles up. But I don't know if you could see it off to the right of the road back there. You might want to back it up and look again. There was some fog laying down in the bottom. You might be able to see it from here too. There it is, yeah. There's some fog over there in the bottom of that wash. Okay, now this is starting to piss me off. My stuff's falling apart here. The road's rough. Little things that make me mad. Not terribly mad, just annoyed more than anything, because I don't want my camera flapping around. That's interesting. They only treated the inside lane there. They must have a limited amount of that stuff, or a limited amount of time. Maybe they can only make one pass out and one pass back. That's something to keep in mind for future reference. Well, it looks like that's where they ran out of it. That might just been the city of Binger that put that down. Okay, there's my intersection down there, the yellow flashing lights. There's a school bus here. It's still relatively early. The school buses are just now getting back in after taking the kids home. It's almost 6. By the time we get down here, it should just be turning 6 o'clock when I get down here to the intersection at 281. Now I could go 2 different ways here. I could stay on 152 and ride on over 2 Minko, Oklahoma, which is on Highway 81, or I can cut down through Anadarko here on 281. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut down here through Anadarko because I just haven't been this way in a long time. Oh, they got more treatment here. So they're doing the bridges and hills, evidently. Kind of makes sense. I've seen a lot of semi-trucks coming back without trailers on them, so I imagine what a lot of people are doing. I was talking about it earlier. I think they got around and got their trailers delivered today. The ones that actually delivered the trailers. Some of them don't. Some of them have the trailer on their truck all the time and they clean them out. You know, they unload them at every stop or whatever. But a lot of these guys pick up a full trailer and haul it someplace, and then they leave it there, and then it's unloaded at their convenience. So I think a lot of these guys have done that today, because I've seen a bunch of bobtail trucks, you know, semi-trucks without trailers on. So I think everybody's worried about this storm that we're supposed to get. Oh, that's a casino. Okay, I didn't even know that was there. Huh. I don't keep up with casinos, really. We got one in Duncan that I think the last time I was in there has been 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know. It's been a while. Might be longer than that. It might have been 8 or 10 years, actually. When we first moved down here, we went there a few times. And then I took my nephew there once when he came down. He thought it was really dumb. He's got a good head on his shoulders. But it was just something to do, you know, it's an experience. He was just 21 at the time, so just old enough to go. All right, so we've made our southward turn, so we're headed south now. And now you're looking at the leading edge of this weather maker that's coming up here. You can see it's all coming from the south and the southwest. Give you a little look over that way. I mean, it's a pretty big front. Pretty big. I'm knocking my stuff off again. Doggone it. Not helping myself out here by dropping stuff on the floor. So I expect we'll be losing whatever little bit of light we've got left pretty soon. That obstructing the western horizon really well. And it's 6:02 now, so it's getting later, obviously, by the minute. That's the way it does, isn't it? But the sky's really pretty down here anyway. It's not quite as dramatic as some of the sunsets we've been having, but it's still pretty colorful. I don't know how long this is going to last, but we'll run it till it's done. How's that sound? So some of this is going to be sped up, and some of it I didn't film every second of the trip, but this will kind of give you an idea of what my typical day is getting to be like anyway, with these little day jobs. You know, if I had more notice, I could have been home before dark, because I could have gotten out, you know, if I could have got out 2 hours earlier, I would have been home already. I'd be home now. But it's not the way it worked out today, so, you know, I was glad to get to work. I was thankful to have it. Here's some more of this ice treatment on the road here, on this long hill. So we're not too far north of Anadarko. I think, yeah, we're about 12 miles. about 11 miles actually from the north side of town. But this is kind of pretty country over here. It's more hilly. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on the temperature out here. It's still in the mid to high 40s. It's dropped down from the 50s. It was about 50 degrees all day. That was our high, somewhere in the around 50, low 50s. That temperature's starting to fall off now. Actually, we're getting down to about 40 now. Pretty close to it anyway. It would be really nice if we didn't get what they say we're going to get. I'd be a lot happier if we didn't. But, you know, obviously the weather does not accommodate me and what I want at all, ever, ever. Still getting the road treatment here. This is a pretty steep hill. Pretty steep set of hills going all the way into Anadarko now. So I would not be surprised if it's all treated all the way into town. And there's a giant casino out here somewhere. I think just north of town maybe. Not too far north. So I'm sure they got that treated out to there so people can get out there and go to work if they don't just shut it down. Depends on how big of a weather event this is actually going to be. Well, there's the end of the treatment right there for now. If it's going to be a big weather event, I don't know. Probably shut everything down. Everybody will just stay home from work and not get out tomorrow.